about life. It's like we're all stuck in an endless loop, and I have with me the stars and the makers of this film to tell you about it from themselves. You don't want to be reading about it anywhere and get confused. I have with me the fiery Taapsee Pannu, director Aakash Bhatia, and Tahir Raj Bhasin. Hello and welcome.
Hi.
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 Hi, hi.
I watched this film last night, and what a trip it was. Now, Taapsee, I want to start off with you because I know when you pick a film, it is going to be something like I haven't seen before. Has that been the driving force to gravitate towards films like these?
Yeah, because I also select films as an audience, and
Hmm.
I feel like I have not seen it before. It's something that I will put my money on to watch in theater when it comes. Is the film that I want to be a part of. So I don't think as an actor, but I first think as an audience when I select a film. So hence, it ends up being, the kind of films that you probably wouldn't have seen before.
Oh, so that resonance is intentional, I think, because
Yeah.
you're looking at it from another perspective. And speaking of perspectives, you're back at your famous background, this clock, but this time it is more relevant than ever.
Exactly. That's why I didn't want to change it. Otherwise, I was ready to think of something else. Which corner of my house should I go to? But I was like, this is perfect for this one. So I think I'll stay here.
And I can't help but remark about the similarities and coincidence is something that largely drive this film. We'll try to explain it to the audience without spoilers by way of this conversation. Akash, now please tell me, 20 years later, a cult classic. Why did you think this was its time in India? And also, what gave you the courage to take on such an ambitious film?
I mean, I did not think it was the time. I never thought anybody should make this film again. But just working on the script, working on the entire screenplay of this film allowed us to give like a fresh perspective to this story. And what I always hear this, and there's this thing about remakes shouldn't be made. So we were also aware of that as a team. And, we went in with the conscious awareness of that. And we were like, okay, this is not going to be a remake. This is going to be an adaptation. This is going to be an homage to the original. So we've stuck to the base concept of the film, and even in that we try to subvert it. And this is just a complete fresh authorship. It's new characters. Its screenplay is new, and that is what gave me the courage. Just to be able to tell a story multiple times, and to be able to sort of deflect it every time into a new nuance. Those are the smaller little things that allowed me the courage, in fact. And even now I shake every time I tell anybody that this is an adaptation of Run Lola Run. But be rest assured, I think all of us on the team have tried to make a very original film, even though it's an adaptation.
Yes, I have seen the original. It has been some time. But I have to say, this is an entirely new film.
Yes.
That going into this film, what were your thoughts?
I was just super excited to play a character who was so wacky. He's so different from anything that I've played. And in the midst of all this chaos between life and death, and between the time loop that's happening in the film, I think love is what's holding it together. And for me, Satya was all about this passionate, unapologetically unabashed like love for Savi. And even in moments where he is goofing up the most in life, that love is still something that drives him, and that to me makes him like extremely endearing. Like he's a jholer, he's foolish, but that's what his faults are, what make him endearing.
Well, I really like the chemistry between you and Taapsee. I enjoyed it. How is she as a co-star? Intimidating in any manner?
This is the perfect setting to ask this question when she's there, because I'm joking.
She
She's
can't punch you across a Zoom call, so you can go.
she can't punch me across a Zoom call. This is
I
amazing.
am mind blowing.
She is mind blowing. What else, Taapsee? You be the teleprompter. No, but in all seriousness, our first conversation happened over Zoom when we were in the first lockdown, and the first time I actually met Taapsee was in a reading at the Ellipsis office, and I just remember how genuine is the only word that I will use. There is no facade of trying to be someone else. What you see is what you get, and I honestly respect that a lot about her. And she was very the chemistry on screen is all about a give and take. You know, I can do whatever I want, but if I'm not getting a response from a co-actor, it's not going to work. And so whatever chemistry you see, it's like a table tennis match. And I'm just so happy that it was Taapsee at the other end.
Well, you have always been a very able co-star as well, Tahir. I feel like it would have been a mutually enriching working equation there, Taapsee.
See, I'd seen his work before, but the weird thing was, which I never understood, why is it not more of, why don't we see more of him? Because he debuted, I think you debuted before I did, right? You debuted before 2013?
2014 is when I did.
Okay, a year later. So actually, I was very perplexed as to why don't we see this guy more, because whatever he's done, people have liked it and people do remember him specifically. Even though he might not be the protagonist of the film, people still have a very, very strong, good recall value. But strangely, don't see much of him around. So when his name popped up for playing Satya, it was like, I knew that as an actor, if he's smart, he will jump on the role because he's never done something that of similar sort. And this is the perfect way of breaking that image that, you know, that the kind of stuff that he had done before. So I'm glad that he said yes. And that I didn't know that he was going to be so busy around the same time, because he was going to do so much more work and we see so much of him now. But that's so good because, you know, he's taken thought out steps. But I hope, now we get to see more and more of him because, I mean, he's good. His screen presence is really good. I mean, there are few people when you actually work with them, you know, their personality kind of towers and overpowers in real. And there's certain people I work with, when you see them on screen, there's something very magical about their presence. So I think that is what Tahir, I will recall of Tahir when I see his work.
That's very generous of you, Taapsee. And I have to agree with that as well. That I also look forward to whatever you're in. You may not, have to be the protagonist, but I think there's that sort of curiosity that you generate.
He needs to be the protagonist.
I think, guys, we should stop promoting me and start promoting the film now. Exactly. Khush to main ho raha hu. And just to put on record, I'm making up for lost time in January 2022, which is when all the releases are lined up.
And it's all it's a very exciting time for you. But, this is something that, happens in the film as well. Everything kind of causes everything else to happen, that kind of causation effect. And one important causation is, I feel, getting your casting right when it comes to a film. Aakash, and when you get that right, most of your work is done. At least half the battle is won. So, do you feel like that is the first right step that you made in this direction?
I mean, Taapsee was on the project before I got on it. So
that's what I'm about to say. I was like, I casted that
so
thing.
Taapsee cast me as the director.
That was the best casting decision ever.
Yeah.
I'm like, I did the best casting of the director. I'm so glad.
I mean, that is completely true. There's she's not fabricating that. She did cast me. But in honestly, just to bring this entire ensemble together, all the other characters in the film, Savi, Satya, and all the other characters in the film, it was one of the biggest challenges to find these people, because everybody has their own arcs, everybody has their own eccentricities, and it's a mixed bag of characters. It's not, one person is not like the other in the film. So even in that, finding faces, finding actors who would really feel the piece as it moved us was a big challenge. And I think half the battle, like you said, is one with that one casting move. The other half is to get on set and just have a lot of fun. And these guys, all the characters, all the actors that I have in on the cast have done a great job. I mean, if I can say so myself, I love watching them.
I do as well. And Taapsee, you brought
What about the director, Aakash? Tell us about the director.
I'm watching him right now. Very, very nice.
Very interesting treatment, I have to say, for this debut feature of yours, 100%. And Taapsee, I feel like you put an extra effort in everything, including your outfit today. It's neon, and the film also is like a neon.
Yeah, it's Savi's color. It's like a green zone, which is Savi's color. Yeah,
Savi's color, and Savi is also not just a throwaway name. Then you go into the name, and then you have so many moments in this film. And I feel like on repeat watches, you will rediscover something that you've missed earlier as well. So I think there's been a lot of effort that's been put in there, Akash. Even for like the smallest of cutaways, I think you've really sort of thought it out, and there's definite effort in making it as rooted as possible. As it is, it was a bizarre German experimental thriller, and to it was rather ambitious, take it and put it in India, but you've not planted it, you've changed it.
I mean, yeah, it's an adaptation. It's not a remake. It's we've followed the plot, but it's an Indian film to the core because the characters are Indian. Their expression is that of an Indian sentiment, you know. So in that, it was very important for us to bring it back home, but also be true to all the things that we know as filmmakers now, you know. And we have a lot of talent in India, and I think we've just been able to bring all the good co-creators, whether it's the DP, whether it's the music directors, the art team, and they've all come in costume. They've all come in and, you know, brought in the detail that we were hoping that this film would have. And it's a we experiment more than anything else, man. I mean, whether it's her costume, whether it's his costume, we went through a lot of iterations, and by the end of it, because you're going to see something for the course of the entire film.
Absolutely.
They're a spot on a map. They're a spot on a map, and they should pop out wherever they go, and they should feel like people who don't belong. And I think, and in that, I mean, both of them were very willing. Taapsee and Tahir were very willing with all the things that we tried with them. They were more than willing, I'd say.
It was very out there, like her, right from her hairstyle and her braids. But I think it all kind of fit in seamlessly, right from the colors of the toilet, which I know you must have gone through that so many times, I can imagine. But, you know, right from the small things like that to the broad brushes of treatment, I see there is an effort to make sure it's something like you've genuinely never seen before. I know different is an overused word, but I think there is that effort. And Taapsee, being a part of a project like that must be fulfilling, where there has been so much thought being put into something. And I know you're also that kind of an actor.
See, there are two kinds of films I've realized now, which are part of my filmography, or I would want to do both. One where we play to the gallery and keep the entertainment quotient so high and fun and, you know, going with the minute through the film. Then there are films where it should be of like detailing value, where the cinephile in you, or the person who, you know, loves to catch things here and there, gets satiated. So that's why I mean this was chosen purely because I knew we're gonna have a ball with people who love cinema. There's certain, see, we are cinema lovers. This country loves movies, but now because of the advent of OTT and the fact that they have got exposure to international cinema of certain sort, their palette has started changing, and they have started realizing the nuances of films and detailing. Even a regular audience today catches some really minute things, which I've learned over a period of time doing the kind of stuff that I've done when I see messages from people and they pick up some things which I only expect the critics to pick up. So I'm like, okay, now I think the audience is kind of ready for this kind of film as well. So this was that kind of film where we were not really playing to the gallery, so to say, but we were going to make sure that you not only get entertained, but also be mentally very engaged with whatever is happening on screen, not just one character, not just the second or the third character, but even the background. So that's why, just to keep you over engaged mentally, it only happens with people who love to see detailing in cinema. So this is that kind of a film which also excites me as an audience sometimes. So hence, you know, this is that kind of film that I wanted to do.
I feel like it is an onion with so many layers that you can, peel.
No, you're very right in saying that every time you'll watch it, you'll probably discover something new, which you didn't before. It definitely has that value, the repeat value.
And also a rewarding payoff, because I know if I go and look up the names of the establishments there, I'm going to be able to find a sort of connection. And I really like that. And, you know, it is a high concept film in the sense that it is based on chaos theory, you know, so some films kind of make you learn something new, you know, like in Rashmi Rocket, I'm sure perhaps physically you learn something new. In this one, it's definitely, you know, mental stimulation to another level. Did it sort of give you a fundamental shift, or, you know, kind of open up your mind on a fundamental level?
If you talk about choices, going this way or that, choosing this over that, the timing of things, not that I wasn't aware of that before, but to present it right there in open, or present it on screen, was probably my first time to show how things changed with a few seconds or with a certain choice. This is the first time it has been explored so clearly on screen. So that, I think, just got validated in my head. Not that I was not a person who was aware of the timing difference or the choice, say what happens, how much life changes with choice and timing. So this kind of validated that thing that I already have in my head about timing and choices.
Well, I'm glad that you brought the butterfly effect to the screens in India. And, I feel like it's a film that's going to generate a lot of chatter, and we're going to be talking about it for a long
Butterfly with the butterfly effect. Made it very, very clear.
It's definitely on the nose.
Exactly. And, we can see that as well. And I'm, very excited about actually watching it again even and finding out what other people have to say. I think that is also a very exciting part of the film, Aakash, the kind of feedback that you're going to start getting.
It is the idea with something like this, like you said, it has a rediscover a little nuance here and there. And I think what got us going was that everybody should watch this film and, hey, did you notice that? Hey, did you notice that? Oh, I didn't pick that. And I mean, apart from the larger metaphors that the film has, and even if you don't get into the metaphor of it all, the smallest detail will pop up in your head. There's a lot of exposition, but there's a lot of discovery as well that we've tried to keep in the film. And I think it's interesting that, like I said, it's interesting that if you were in the theater and you're watching it at the interval time, you would be discussing that little detail that you missed, and then you'll go back and think about it. So yeah, I mean, that's something that we were very aware of. We were cognizant of that, and we tried to sort of build as much of that in the screenplay and in the writing.
But I think it comes through. I have to agree with you on all counts. And Tahir, congratulations once again about being part of a much talked about project and doing your best in it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I had a fabulous conversation. What fun watching this.
Thank you, Shilpa. Thank you for being such a good.
Keep watching it.
Definitely, I will.
Keep watching it on loop.
Yeah,
on loop. 3 times you need to watch it minimum. Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, yeah.
All right,
That's an excited debut director telling you that. But thank you so much, Shilpa. Your detailing and your questions, like, really, I'm glad that you saw it with being all there.
You put in the effort. I have to put it in from my side too, Taapsee. You set the bar high.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.